This is Tim, and this is Deconstructing Comics. Welcome to Deconstructing Comics. This is Tim in Tokyo. This week we're catching up with creator Irene Strychalski, who's been on this show several times before. She's just arrived at quit your day job territory, and you might have seen her work lately in Marvel's Gwen. We'll talk about her depressing early comic, drawing someone else's stories versus drawing your own, things people say to her when she draws in cafes, the nature of Inktober, and more. First, if you're planning to buy some comics or anything else on Amazon, get there via deconstructingcomics.com/Amazon and make that your bookmark for future purchases. We'll then get a percentage of what you spend. It costs you nothing extra and helps us cover web hosting and the other costs of presenting the show every week. Okay, so Irene Strychalski is back on the podcast, and she's in Austin, Texas. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's good to be back.
Yeah, so Irene's been on 3 other episodes. I looked up the numbers. 408, that was when you were with Studio Revolver, when you were still in Georgia. Where
yes.
Atlanta you were in?
It was Atlanta, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so long ago.
And then, that was like over 2 years ago. And then episode 429, when you were here in Japan, and you and Mulele and I talked, and then we went to Comic-Ette. And then episode 500, where you were one of my many guests on that episode.
That's right. Yeah, now I remember that one.
Plus, Mulele and I talked about your comic Beads on Critiquing Comics, number 89.
That's right, you did. Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah. So I guess now you just quit your day job recently, right?
Yes, I did.
Yay.
We'll see how this goes. I kind of didn't have a choice, though. I was just getting too much other work, but yeah, we'll see.
So, I was going to ask what the change was that kind of got you to that point, but just you were getting a lot of freelance work?
Yeah, well, I got put on a series of books from Marvel. Like, I've been getting freelance here and there as usual, and I've been trying to ramp up my, both selling my own products and my own comics and getting freelance work all year. But like, my goal is always, I was at the point where I really just wanted to do comics full time, because my day job was not somewhere where I could move forward skill-wise or career-wise. It was a pleasant and comfortable place, but it wasn't somewhere that I could better myself, and I hadn't known that for a long time. So I wanted to get to doing comics full time. And I honestly wasn't expecting to make the jump so soon, but I was offered to do 2 issues of fill-in art for a Marvel book first. So I did that while at the day job. Basically didn't sleep for 3 months because I was doing comics and a day job and a bunch of freelance stuff, so that was fun. And then
and that was Gwen what? That was
Gwenpool.
Gwenpool. Okay, yeah. Not Spider-Gwen.
Yeah. Okay. No, not Spider-Gwen. That was Gwenpool, and the second issue I did just came out, so yeah, those are both out. But I still want to stay on my day job because, security, and I didn't know if I would be getting more work, and then I got asked if I would like to do 4 issues of Silk, which basically gave me work for the rest of the year, so at least I'll have food on the table for the rest of the year, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's at the point where if I want to hit my deadlines, I can't be at a day job, and it's, I can't be sitting at a computer doing boring work for 8 hours a day. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, so how did you get in at Marvel? I mean, it's obviously pretty competitive to do that. I mean, did you send them a submission, or how did that work?
What? That's a complicated question. Yeah, I'm sure you have heard many times that getting put into comics is a complicated procedure that is not simple in any way and is different for everybody.
Yeah, and everybody does it differently. Yeah.
Yeah. So having done comics for so long and having gone to a lot of Comic-Cons and having done indie comics and having gone to school with comics, I know a lot of comic artists and I know editors at Marvel already. But, knowing people is different than like, hey, look, making them think I'm good enough to work for them. I don't know. I think I really tried to push myself skill-wise this past year as well because I wanted to be good enough to, do like comics full time. But what I guess the thing I did do was I actually sent beads to the editors I didn't know, including Axel Alonso, and he's ridiculously busy. And I was like, he'll probably just ignore me. But I also sent it to Sean Crystal, who was my professor from college, and some other editors I knew, and they're like, yeah, we'll look around. And I was like, I wasn't too optimistic, but apparently they looked around and there was something, which was the fill-in job. So that's sort of how I got in, I guess.
I see. Okay. Now, has doing work for Marvel caused you to change your process at all as far as drawing?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Do you draw on the Cintiq?
For the past book, I did. I finished one issue of Silk so far, and I did that all digital. I think because I'm suddenly more comfortable with digital. All the Gwenpool issues were done traditionally. Actually, penciled digitally, but I printed the pencils out and inked them traditionally. But for Silk, I was trying to go really fast, and there's also a lot of environment work, and because she's just one of the Spider Women, and just cities everywhere, and reference everywhere, and which I love to do, but I needed to do it fast for this book. So I decided to try doing it digitally, and that worked out really well. So right now I'm working completely digitally. But I haven't, if you're talking about adjusting my style, no, I haven't done that. I just want to do my best work, and I think doing my natural style is the best way I can, tell a story. So I try not to change that, and people seem to be happy with that. So.
Okay. Now, were you much of a Marvel reader, growing up?
Oh God, I was not. No, no. And this is why I put off sort of asking for work for superhero comics for so long, because I feel like I really didn't get it. And I actually like both Gwenpool and Silk, the books I've been put on. Of course, I actually already liked Silk before I was asked to work on it, but no, we didn't have American comics in Taiwan. I don't know how it is in Japan.
Oh yeah, you were growing up in Taiwan, sure.
Yeah, I grew up in Taiwan. And apparently, I know some European countries, South American countries get American superhero comics, but we didn't get any of that in Taiwan. Yeah,
Italian or something. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was not like that in Taiwan. The only comics we had were Chinese comics or translated comics from Japan, basically. So I didn't know. That Spider-Man was still running. It was hilarious. I moved to the States. I was gonna study animation, and then I got to school, and then I found out that my school had a sequential art major, and then I went over and they're like, yeah, Spider-Man is still running, and I was like, what? So yeah, I did not grow up reading superhero comics.
I see. So what were you reading? Manga?
Yeah, it was all manga.
What were the comics that inspired you to create your own comics?
Oh, I don't know. It's complicated. Actually, probably more shows and anime movies. Really inspired me to tell my own stories. I wanted to do comics ever since Kenshin and. Case Closed, or what do you call it, Detective Conan?
Yeah, Conan.
They call it that in some places. That was really big when I was in middle school, and then there was Bleach, which I read for a little while before it got boring.
Yeah.
So... Yeah.
Bleach, yes. I read some of that too. I know what you mean where it gets boring.
Yes, exactly. I feel so bad for the creator, but that's a long discussion. Yeah. But I don't think I was really inspired to like be like, I want to tell stories with this drawing stuff until probably Ghost in the Shell. So the Ghost in the Shell TV series, and I'm a big fan of Satoshi Kon's work, who did Paprika and Tokyo Godfathers. So I saw all of that in high school, and I think that's probably why I decided to go to art school, honestly.
I see.
Yeah.
So now you went to SCAD? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Savannah College of Art and Design. Okay, and then you went to Atlanta after that.
Yeah. Well, I was in Savannah for a year, and I transferred.
I see. Oh, that's right. That's right. They have. I always forget that they have an Atlanta campus.
Yeah, it was the same school, but I just went to Atlanta campus, which was it was smaller. I like that more.
I see. So now, had you made any comics before you went to SCAD?
I tried. I think I did the 130-pager. It's weird. But I started a lot of comics with friends, but the thing is, I never finished them.
Yeah.
And what's weird is I was one of those people where like storytelling in comics actually didn't come naturally to me. Like I would write a lot because I also I really like reading novels, and I was actually really into like murder mysteries and mystery novels, and I like to draw. So it was a lot of writing, a lot of drawing, but I never put the two together because I didn't have anyone to teach me that. I didn't really understand that. So I actually didn't make a lot of comics before college. So yeah, that was definitely all learned.
What was that 130-pager about? Do you remember?
It was so depressing. Oh my gosh. It was a silent comic too. I think I like doing silent comics a lot. I think it's still on like DeviantArt somewhere. It's extremely depressing. It's about like a homeless kid who like gets beat up, and like his little dog gets beat up, and it's, oh my gosh. There's really, it's really like, Bees was a little happier, let's just say. There was sort of a story, but the story was basically the world is horrible. But I kind of just wanted to draw like cityscapes and a sad child. I was an angsty teenager, so. But I did finish that one comic, so that's what I did. Oh, those days.
I see.
You're digging up old bones.
So, with the day job out of the way, so now you've got income from Patreon, you've got income from Marvel, and you're selling your own stuff on Gumroad and I guess other places like that, and on your own site, and some buttons and that kind of thing. Which one would you say is the largest source of income?
Oh, Marvel by far. Patreon, actually, I kind of fell off on that, and I'm not asking for anyone to support me on it anymore because I don't have time to update and maintain it. Literally, before like these few weeks, my day job was taking up all the time, and now since then I've had to crunch on my last Marvel book, so everything has been finishing, like big publisher comics. So I haven't had time to maintain the Patreon. So I kind of, I'm letting that lie for now. My store envy and all the stuff I have on there, I always have like back stock and, stuff that's ready to sell, but that's sporadic. Like once in a while I'll get a giant batch of orders, but that's what I found out that's sort of, I don't know, maybe when I've been doing it for longer, it'll be more steady, but that's really not steady income. It's kind of just, I like to make things and, publish books, and it's also a nice way to get out there. Definitely, like, what's paying my rent right now is Marvel.
I see.
Yeah. So I hope they give me more work.
Yeah, Patreon is difficult because, if you're not making much money on Patreon, then it's kind of hard to find the time to make good incentives or whatever because you're too busy making money and other things.
Yeah,
at least what I'm finding anyway.
It's difficult, and it's, not all of these platforms suit every creator. Like, a lot of people, some people, Kickstarter works for them, and for some other people it doesn't, or some people, their model and their style suits Patreon or YouTube, and for some people it doesn't work. So I feel like I'm sort of still trying to find out what works, but right now I'm just glad that, some big comics publishers think that I am decent enough to be on their books, so I can eat.
Yeah, yes. That's always nice.
Yeah, that is nice. Eating is nice. So I would like to do more of my own stuff, whether that's through Patreon or Kickstarter or pitching to like an indie publisher. And you know that I've talked about this in the past. I think I want to do some original comics as well, but that'll come slowly.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask about that. I mean, because obviously it's great to get into Marvel and be making decent money, but I know you want to make some of your own creator work, your own creator-owned work also. So how are you going about kind of finding a balance on that? It sounds like it's kind of weighted towards the Marvel work right now.
It definitely is, because that's a hard deadline, and so that always comes first. Like, the deadlines always come first, right? And my own work, there is no deadline yet. Mm-hmm. If I do the pitch and I get picked up, then there will be deadlines. So then I'll juggle both equally. But it's sort of who commissioned work first, who's paying more, who's more important. Which deadline is more important. So yeah, I do have a great love for my own stories and my own comics, but I also really do. I enjoy the Marvel work, and you have to be professional. You have to stay on schedule and be good to work with.
Mm-hmm. So your own stuff, are you doing anything to publicize it right now, or are you going to conventions at all, or?
No, I'm not quite there yet. I mean, I have to make something first.
Well, you made beads.
I did make beads, and I'm thinking of doing another book for Inktober, just an art book. But that's also sort of one-shot thing. That's not the comic that I'm thinking of doing. I have this detective story that I've been talking about doing forever. But right now, I'm in the process of thumbnailing it. So I think I'll send, like, the script is done. I think I'll send the thumbnails to probably like a mid-sized or small publisher to see what they think, and we'll go from there. But no, I'm not doing anything to publicize it. I don't have a book yet. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it takes a long time going from here's a script to here's a book that's finished and ready to sell and promote. No, sadly, I wish I could go around saying, "Look, this is my creator-owned book," but that takes a lot of time, and I have to be patient.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard.
Coming up, drawing someone else's stories versus drawing your own, things people say to Irene when she draws in cafes, Inktober, and more. But first, if you value the content on Deconstructing Comics, Critiquing Comics, and To the Bat Poles, if these shows have helped you get a new perspective on something or to discover something new, help us keep going with a monthly donation via Patreon at patreon.com/deconcomics. If everyone listening gave just $3 a month, it would make a big difference. We'd be able to reach several of our Patreon goals and bring you more content. If we can bring in another $89 per month, we'll reach our $150 a month goal, and I'll make available the first 2.5 years of Deconstructing Comics, over 120 episodes that are currently missing from our website. We'd really appreciate it if everyone pitched in a few bucks a month to get us to that $150 level.
I'm Batman.
And I'm Robin.
This is Tim.
And this is Paul.
To the Bat Poles! The iTunes reviews are in on To the Bat Poles podcast. A terrific podcast, raves Got a Rugrat. that brings review, film analysis, and sociological impact to episode-by-episode musings without ever losing the feeling of two brothers with towels tied around their necks, running through the backyard. Unmissable.
Exquisite.
You've heard the reviews, now try it for yourself. New episodes on the first, third, and fifth Thursdays of the month on iTunes or Stitcher, or at tothebatpoles.libsyn.com.
Wild!
For nostalgia, analysis, and fun, it's
To the Bat Poles.
Have you found any kind of difference in, or so before you had been drawing stories that you wrote, now you're drawing stories that somebody else wrote for Marvel. So is that a big difference for you, or does it feel kind of the same?
It's not really a huge difference. I've done it before. I think, going to school for sequential art definitely helps. It's definitely not the major that our school, pays a lot of attention to, but like, I find what I learned there invaluable in pretty much any kind of art I do. And of course, when I'm working for, big publisher comics, I've had a lot of practice drawing from scripts even while in school. And I did do like a really small one shot for Marvel towards the end of college. So it's, and the writing is really good. I mean, anyone who's writing for any of the big publishers, Marvel or DC, is a good writer. I think it's safe to say. So all the scripts I've gone so far have been, I've been able to get into it. And I don't think it's that different. No, it's probably a little less personal, but I have a particular soft spot for Silk. I think because she's an angsty girl about my age who's a little hermetic, so I'm really enjoying drawing from that. That I have a little less trouble feeling connected with that character in particular. I don't think I can say the same about, say, if I was drawing Colossus or something. But, I mean, I guess right now I'm pretty lucky to be working on that.
What were the things that you learned in school that are coming in handy now? Like, anything in particular?
Well, just all the storytelling techniques, right? I mean, I'm sure you've heard of Scott McCloud's Understanding Comics book. All the techniques for how to tell a story, how to do panels better, and a lot of people, even when they get into doing comics professionally, it takes some time to sort of figure that out. Like all the different ways you can draw a whole page of just people talking and make it interesting. Like all these skills that I really, was fortunate enough to get like beaten into me throughout college, and a lot of people kind of have to learn that as it go, and it takes longer to learn that if you didn't have any training. So basically, I did get some pre-training in comics, so it's a pretty easy transition. And also stuff like perspective, right? How to do perspective, how to do it fast, like all the cheats for it, and how to use 3D program support if you have to, how to find reference and all these things, how to do a composition really quickly. And it's all this practice that you go through, in art school. And I feel like, I'm sure if someone did an apprenticeship or something like that, if we had an apprenticeship system, we don't have that here, I wish we did, they have that in Japan, it would be sort of the same thing. But I feel like pretty much the time I spent in art school, it was doing an apprenticeship, and it helps me a lot.
I see. Let's see. What do you wish you'd known about freelancing before you quit your day job?
It's still pretty early in the game.
Okay.
It's been around like 3 or 4 weeks.
Oh, okay.
But I'm still learning some things. This is actually not the first time I've gone freelance. But I am more prepared this time than I was before. I'm a little less of a kid that doesn't know what the heck they're doing with money and life, which is what I was last time I tried to go freelance. I'm still sure that I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm a little more prepared this time. And I have some freelancer friends that have been very gracious and have given me pointers, and I'm still in the process of sort of setting up my situation, because I mean I'm sort of like, I have some money, I'll just put it aside, here are some savings, okay, let me draw some comics. But my friends that have been freelancing for a long time have been giving me pointers, like it would be it's helpful to incorporate yourself, find an accountant to do your taxes and tell you what you can inventory or file as like or file as part of your business expense, or what you can't. Pay quarterly taxes, all that fun stuff, and as well as you can set up a monthly paycheck to yourself from your company, and it's really helpful to keep your personal account and your freelance account or your business account separate. So it's like you're one person, but you have a business entity that is one bank account and one whole thing on its own, then you have your personal account, so you are still the employee of your own business entity. And that's the kind of thing they don't teach you in art school, right? Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the general gist of it, and I would like to get to being set up in that sort of situation hopefully sometime by next year. But that's what I've learned so far, and I guess it's not like disastrous that I'm not completely perfectly set up, in that fashion at this point. But I do wish I knew more about that and I was a little more prepared before I quit my day job.
Mm-hmm. So what's the most enjoyable part of your job?
Drawing comics?
As a freelancer.
Drawing comics!
Drawing comics itself is the most enjoyable thing.
Yeah!
Okay. So what's the least enjoyable thing?
Oh, gee, I don't know. I really love drawing comics, Tim, so...
no downside.
There are downsides. I wish comics paid more, but, how are you gonna get more Americans to read comics and get comics in every corner store again, right? That's a whole different discussion. I guess it's a little hard communicating with people not in person when you only have the internet to talk to the rest of your team. I feel like that's a little difficult. And I haven't had to work like that in a long time, and it's a little less, immediate, and you feel a little less connected, but everyone in comics is really friendly, so I think we make do. And sort of, I don't know, staying up late a lot. But that's sort of more scheduling, though. I don't think it could be a little faster, but also just learning your own pacing. I feel like those are problems that will be solved in time, though. Yeah, it's mostly the working with a team that's really far away, and it's also a little. This is gonna sound sad. It's a little lonely.
Well, yeah, comics is a lonely occupation. Sit by
really
yourself and draw.
It is, and that's. I did have a freelance studio back in Atlanta where me and some other comic artists rented out a space, and we would do our own. Some of us had day jobs, but we would all get together, and all our comics were freelance, where we would get together in this little space and draw together. But not every city has that kind of collective, and in Austin, I haven't been able to find that kind of group. So I kind of miss that, and I wish that was more common. Also, a lot of people do just work at home alone, which I don't mind because I am very hermetic. But what I do to remedy being too much of a shut-in, because that won't do. That really it'll drive anybody crazy, even if you're a big nerd who lives vicariously through the internet like me. I bring my work to cafes a lot nowadays. So I kind of work between home and going to cafes around town. And that's been pretty nice.
Yeah, well, you've talked, I think maybe on the podcast before, certainly on Facebook, about like people who see your work in the cafe and start asking you questions.
Yeah. Yeah, there's also that. You run into all types when you're drawing in public.
What kind of things have you heard from them recently?
I haven't gone to the cafe in a while. It was, I had to crunch really hard for the last issue I did, so I mostly stayed at home. It's been a few weeks, but I don't know. Nothing really recent comes to mind. I think anything very noteworthy I post on Facebook to give everybody a laugh.
Well, what were some of the classics?
Are you drawing anime? that happens, actually. That's happened a few times. And or are you drawing storyboards? I've had are you drawing storyboards? Which is very strange because I'm clearly not.
Storyboards don't have word balloons.
It's word
and they're not
balloons,
so detailed. I don't think.
Different panel sizes. They're not. Well, they're usually not that detailed. You have some storyboards that are insane and just do finished illustrations for all their boards, but that's different. Yeah, there are word balloons. There are inks. There are different panel sizes. It's a stack of comic pages. It's really funny, and people will. It amuses me how often I get asked if I'm drawing manga or anime. Because, I mean, it's like, well, no, we're not in Japan, so technically no. I guess I am influenced by manga style, but it's comics. So all that is really amusing. Well, all that is, and that's all, it's friendly, and I don't mind that. The only things that annoy me are people who will want to talk for a long time, but and I'm trying to work. I don't mind answering some questions. I mean, I love talking about what I do, but sometimes people will sit down and go on and on about, some different branch of art that I don't know anything about, like web design. And I don't understand why people do that, because I'm not a web designer. I'm not a graphic designer. I draw comics, so that can be a little difficult. But in general, of course, people are pretty friendly, and they seem really curious and a little eager. They seem eager to learn, or probably happy to see people drawing comics like in real life. Like, oh, this is a real job. So I find that amusing, and I find that nice.
Has anyone? I mean, I've heard some people, and maybe it wasn't with you, but in some cases where people said, "Oh, do they still print comics?" Like they think that it's disappeared or something.
I might have had that before. I think people are like, "So is this going to be on the internet, or is this going to be like published like a real book?" And I'm like, "Well, both, I guess." That's how things work now.
Of course,
but
people.
I've also. Oh, sorry.
No, it was just say, if people are not regular comics readers, I mean, then in normal stores they probably never see them because it's all the specialty shops nowadays.
Yeah, because it's not on every corner shop like before, and it's kind of not permeated everywhere. But I was also going to say, I have gotten, some people walked up to me and said, "Oh, are you a professional inker?" Or, "Oh, what publisher is that for?" And, people that seem pretty knowledgeable about the media. I guess these are people that grew up reading some comics or live near a comic shop or something. So that's surprising, because I think an average American doesn't know much about comics. But I have actually gotten, some pretty knowledgeable comments. So that's nice.
Okay, yeah. So you mentioned Inktober, and I noticed that you'd mentioned it on your Facebook also, but now, is this kind of centrally organized thing? Is there like one website for it, or does everybody just kind of put their own stuff up wherever? How does that work?
I don't think there is a central website. It's kind of just an artist event where everybody posts on their own website. I think there was one artist that made it really popular and started telling other people, that, hey, this is a challenge. I challenge all other artists to do this. But I'm pretty sure it was a thing before that, but probably one artist, I can't remember their name, or a group of artists made it a point to promote Inktober as a way to get more people to draw in ink. But there is no central website you submit to. It's sort of just an event where everybody posts on their own thing, and you can tag it Inktober. I should probably you can look this up now, but I'll get distracted. I think there is if you saw the little I reposted this on Facebook. There's a little logo for Inktober. There's sort of an Inktober logo. I think that's the website for the people that are in charge of promoting Inktober. And if you tag Inktober 2016, they'll reblog you or retweet you and stuff like that. But there is no website you submit to.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just looking it up. So I think on the thing that you posted on Facebook, it mentioned this Jake Parker.
Okay.
And so I found this looks like it might be Tumblr, maybe not. Anyway, it's his website. And there's the same that same logo.
I guess it's Jake Parker. Sorry, Jake. I didn't remember who it was.
But yeah, it doesn't look like. I don't know if there's art from various people on here or just him.
I don't think he does the website where, there's a collection of everybody's Inktober. Yeah, I think
this is all just his own work.
Mm-hmm.
But I maybe he's the central person. I'm not sure.
I have gone to his website, but I don't remember seeing anything other than his work.
What kind of comic would you like to do that you haven't yet?
Well, I would like to do my detective story. Yeah. So you mean what genre? What kind of thing I would like to draw?
Yeah, genre. Or
everything I've done has been pretty modern. I don't know. I like really psychological comics. So my hope is to get more. My hope is to be put on more books that sort of delve with more psychological character journeys and stuff like that. If that makes any sense. It's probably why I like crime stories and mystery stories a lot. But I would like to do fantasy, I guess. I'm not really picky. I like drawing anything, and I love every challenge, But I never really got to draw fantasy at all, so that would be fun.
Is there any genre that you like to read, but you can't picture yourself working on it?
Not really. No, not really. No.
Okay, so anything's okay.
Yeah, I'm really not picky. Probably, I don't know. I don't think I would suit kid stuff. Yeah, I don't think I'd suit children's books, and I have a lot of friends that do children's books, and it's much harder than people think it is actually. But I don't think I would suit that, or a younger audience. It's funny because I've had people tell me that, I should draw YA comics or children's comics. It's why do you think that? I don't really like that. I like drawing angry, dark stuff. But, it's maybe because of the big anime eyes. I don't know.
Or sad children walking around a city.
Oh God, yeah. I have to typecast myself into drawing sad comics, and then it won't be a problem.
Have you had any time to read anything lately? You're just too busy drawing?
I actually picked up Paper Girls today.
Okay. How is that?
I went by the comic store, and I only read the first issue, but it's fun. I really like the dialogue. It's written by Brian Vaughn, right?
Yeah.
And I forget what the artist is, but it's good art. It's good storytelling. And Brian Vaughn always writes really good dialogue, and I love the exchanges. The characters are great. I heard it was the comic version of Stranger Things, and it was very similar to that, and I love Stranger Things. So, I just picked it up, and I'll probably finish the first paperback tomorrow.
I see. Okay. So what interests you about what's going on in the comics world?
Has anything changed recently?
I'm not sure. Well, I mean, it's a little bit. It's not such a new thing now, I guess. But like the comics that you're working on seem to be part of a trend that we've seen the past few years in the big two, doing more kind of girl-oriented comics.
Oh yeah.
I think it might have started with Batgirl, and then both of the publishers have been doing more books. I mean, I've been reading the Patsy Walker comic, which is, it's definitely not a sort of typical Marvel comic. It's much different tone and different art style.
Yeah, that's true. I guess that is right. It's not really a new development, but relatively recent, the past couple of years. Like Batgirl and Gwen Stacy, Spider-Gwen, and all of the Spider-Women series. And then recently Squirrel Girl suddenly got really big, which is amazing. That makes me so happy. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think it doesn't especially register to me as something special, because I kind of expect, like, hey, this is the right thing to do, right? You should have, like, more women characters in comics. But yeah, it's a change that I'm happy to see. And probably especially Marvel seems to be more open to publishing even some non-superhero stuff, or stuff that's atypical to, like, their really old franchises that are, done and proven. So I think things are improving and changing for the better in general. Yeah.
Yeah. So now the Gwenpool stuff you did, that's out, right? That's already available.
Oh yeah, those now, 2 issues.
But the Silk stuff is not yet.
No, it's so what people don't realize is the comics that come out, the artists probably did that work 2 months ago or 2.5 months ago. The Silk book won't be out until November, so there's like this huge gap.
Yeah.
It's gone to the colors and the letter, and then they have to make sure we didn't make any mistakes, and then printing and everything, of course. So it takes a while before it comes out. But yeah, Gwenpool is out, and I did issues 5 and 6, and issue 7 is back to regular artists, who is Guri here, and they're awesome. So people should read it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything else we should be watching for from you?
No, I don't think so.
No time to do anything else right now.
No. You're making me think of what else can I do? What else can I fit in my schedule? I don't need to think about that right now. Okay. I am most likely going to be doing something for Inktober again, probably another badass women-oriented idea. So I'm like prepping for that because October is coming soon. But that's the only other thing other than the issues of Silk that are going to come out throughout the rest of this year.
Okay, cool. Okay. I ran out of questions.
No! Oh, what to do? I guess I'll be at Alamo City Comic Con in October as well. So
which Comic Con?
It's Alamo City Comic Con.
Alamo City, okay.
Yeah, it's down in San Antonio. It's sort of mid-sized convention. I'm pretty busy. I can't really get to anywhere else, but San Antonio is really close to me. So I guess if anyone is in Texas, feel free to come by and get some small things, pick up books, whatever, talk, nerd out over things. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Watch for Irene's work in Marvel's Silk series coming in November. You can write us at mail@deconstructingcomics.com or look us up on Patreon, Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, and YouTube. All our social media links can be found on the right sidebar at deconstructingcomics.com. Also, please give us a review on iTunes or Stitcher. Our theme is from bensound.com. This Thursday on To the Bat Polls, we'll talk about Lorenzo Semple's masterclass in writing a script that's funny for its situations rather than for zingers, and Burgess Meredith's sublime penginess in The Penguin's Nest and The Bird's Last Jest, plus an update on that Jay Thompson draft script that was rewritten into the Impractical Joker arc, and on our search for more versions of Hefty's Batman theme. Look up To the Bat Polls wherever you find your podcasts, or at tothebatpoles.libsyn.com. Next week, Kumar and Ryan Cecil Smith discuss Kramer's Ergot 9. Till then, this is Tim, and thanks for listening to Deconstructing Comics.